Good morning. My name is Cerece Rennie Murphy. I'm an independent author of sci-fi and fantasy, and I'm also the founder of Narazu. And right now, I am sitting in my office on a very early Monday morning, and I'm about to answer 5 questions with Narazu. So, how did I get started? Let's see. I have been a sci-fi fan since I was 7 years old, and my mom took me to see Empire Strikes Back at the Uptown Theater in DC, where I'm from, and I just loved it. I loved everything about it. It was like nothing I'd ever seen. I loved the Jedi. I loved the fight with the Empire. I loved the idea that there was this all-encompassing force that related to us and we could access. Yeah, the whole world was just amazing to me, and I never looked back. And Yoda became my first crush. So, yeah, so that's how I got started in loving sci-fi. In terms of writing, I've been a writer of poetry since I was about 11, but I never thought that I would be a writer, never really wanted to. That was an aspiration of mine. But I guess almost 7 years now. Um, I started writing fan fiction. And about 6 months after my first fan fiction piece, I had an idea for my first original story, which came to me while I was washing the dishes. And it was just this vision that came to me of this man walking towards me, and he had ash blonde hair and a cataract like film over his eyes, and his skin was ashen, even though he was a black man from Tanzania. And I knew that he was a seer. I knew that he was enslaved for that ability. And literally, this entire story came to me while I was washing the dishes. And when you've been a sci fi fan as long as I have, you don't let that go. So I decided I would try to write the story in my head. That turned out to be book one, Order of the Seers, of what became the Order of the Seers trilogy. And I've never stopped. So that's how I got started. Uh, let's see, about my work. Well, I'd love to be an illustrator, but I'm not. So I write straight novels with no illustrations, unless I'm working with somebody. I've written, as I said, the Order of the Seers sci-fi trilogy, which is about a group of people who can see the future and they're enslaved for that ability. And the book's all about how they escape the organization that's trying to exploit their gift, how they reclaim their power and start fighting back. There's lots of action, adventure, suspense. There's a little bit of romance in there too. Um, but my books, yeah, I've written a children's series too, Alice in the Magic Mirror. We're 2 books in, I'm writing the third now. And a sort of sci fi historical romance called To Find You, about two souls trying to find each other through time. So that's sort of, and you know, spans a lot, but there's a big common theme with all my books. Um, they all, at their essence, are about finding who you truly are and finding the power that uh, entails, and then using that power to improve your community or the world around you. So if you like action packed books that have that sort of spiritual core, you're probably going to like what I write. Let's see, what are my biggest influences? There are a lot of them, both in film and in books. Obviously, George Lucas is a huge influence for me. But my two favorite sci fi books were Wild Seed by Octavia Butler and Frank Herbert's Dune. Both of those have that same sort of spiritual core about who are you and what does that mean for your community. But also, the world building in Dune is just, astounding and really, um, really impacted me as a child. Even seeing the movie in the theater with, David Lynch and his crazy vision and ABBA and their crazy music, it really, it set me on a powerful path. Um, yeah, the sleeper must awaken. Anyway, and um, and then Wild Seed by Octavia Butler was the first book that ever just literally blew my mind. I finished that book and I turned to page one and I started all over again because I just could not believe what she had done with that book. So those are huge influences. Toni Morrison's another in terms of her writing. I love her because she's a writer for all the five senses. It's just a full body experience. You can see, hear, touch, taste everything that she describes in her books. And I just think it's really powerful, and she continues to be one of my favorite writers. Star Wars or Star Trek. You already know what I'm going to say. I started out with Star Wars. I mean, I love Star Trek. I think it's a fascinating series, and I always love meeting the characters and the dilemmas, and there's just a hopefulness about that world. But Star Wars brought me to science fiction, and I love the I love the adventure. I love the spirituality. I love Yoda. Anyway, so I'm never gonna change on that. Let's see. And what am I working on now? Right now, I am working on a fantasy adventure called The Wolf Queen, which is about a young woman who discovers that she is part of this incredible heritage of sorceresses, and she needs to reclaim that legacy if she's going to fight against a very powerful and evil king who has taken over her land and oppressed her people. And so that's what I'm writing now. I just finished the first draft of the prologue, and I'll be writing the book soon. So that's coming up. I'm working on the third book in the Alice in the Magic Mirror series as well, and some other projects that you'll find out about. If you'd like to, you can visit my website at www.CereceRennieMurphy.com and read samples of my books and check out, what I do. Thank you so much again for watching this video. Thank you so much for being a part of the Narazu community. This little idea I had to help independent artists, rise above the noise and get to be known by sci-fi fans like you, was just something that I had in my head, but your participation makes it possible. So thank you so much, and have a great day.